Yeah.
Now, obviously, like, look, on the other hand, though, maybe we can ask Alphari about this. I did get sick of having to defend about a million questionable ints from Perkz last year. So I do enjoy actually that Perkz just sometimes plays boring, normal mid-lane champion style, believe it or not, Alphari. I like just having hey, I like it when he has a normal Orianna game. I think that's cool. I think it's cool to not have to every game.
Do you not remember the action?
That was pretty wild. Listen, I'm sure he has like a designated int game every now and then. Yeah, it's just in his system, isn't it? Like,
I mean, look,
he just to get it out.
Look, Vitality players are consistently trying to gaslight us that week 1 didn't happen. So, like, if you bring things up like this, it's really hard for the narrative. Like, are we supposed to, like, actually remember the Akshan game and, like, your Wukong game?
No, you are. It's really funny. It's a hilarious game. It's supposed to be, but why not?
I mean, look, I know I'm, like, generally one of the biggest Perkz defenders, right? Like, so people always just say, like, oh, man, you're just fucking, like, you just always say some shit. I'll just say the first 3 levels looked pretty good. Like the first 3 levels, like the Akshan was pretty far ahead. And then he just completely ran it down for the rest of the game. But the first 3 levels actually seemed like they had some value. You know, maybe the pick could work. You just not into Yasuo Diana.
I think exactly. Yasuo Diana with the marksman mid lane. I mean, it's ambitious, right? And I respect the confidence.
By the way, what was the main reason why you wanted to play with Perkz? Is there some specific reason? Because like I said, you obviously could have done it in the past as well. Is there some key reason why you want to play with this specific player? It
was the Akshan, I think.
It's actually just because he keeps winning pretty much this, and I do think he's a good player, but he also just like keeps winning all the time. He's beaten me 3 times, and I want to win. And yeah, I figured I have highest chance of winning with him after his track record. So especially against me, and he just always wins. So I want to get aboard the train and win as well.
Does that make it like harder? Sorry, go on. I just have a question. Like, does that make it a little bit harder to be on the team and like actually like put your voice forward in what you want to do? Because like you're playing with this guy that won all the fucking time. So like if he's saying like, hey, I want to play the game this way, and you're like, I actually don't agree with that, I want to do something else. Does that make it harder to like have your voice? Because I mean, if I was in that situation, I would probably defer to the guy that's like won all the time. You know, like that's the reason I'm here. So I guess that would be my question for you.
No, because talking about the game, it's a conversation. It's not I have this way, so therefore we have to do it. It's I have this way, okay. I have this way, I disagree. Why do we disagree? We talk about it, and a conclusion gets reached, right? And this is how it should be. So.
But are you more willing to compromise? Are you more willing to compromise as with like because he's such a successful player?
No, I mean, I will like if I don't understand something or if I disagree with something. It's like it's my responsibility to discuss it and to learn about it. It's not just like blindly saying yes just for the sake of avoiding conflict. I'm supposed to understand it because it's important to understand concepts and how to play the game actually when you're playing the game. And it applies to him as well. Just because he's a good player, he also has to do this. This is also why he's a good player, because you have to set aside your ego and be willing to discuss things and know that, sure, you've won a lot, but winning doesn't make you a perfect player. The game is always evolving. There's always new ideas. And also, like, come on, like, realistically, a reason why he's won is because he's willing to say, okay, I was wrong here, or, okay, yeah, let's change my opinion on this. If you're being stubborn and not accepting criticism or being willing to discuss things, you're not going to win.
Yes.
That's like, it's a team game. You have to be willing to discuss things. And the point of a conversation is not to be, I'm right, it's to reach the right goal, you know? So he's good at this. I think I'm good at this. And also, I mean, I was on a team with Core JJ, and he was respected a lot more than anyone here respects Perkz. I mean, everyone respects Perkz, you know, but Core JJ was like, he was king because he was world champion, which is fair enough. He's really insane. But yeah, you just have to talk about things and understand it, because that's how it should be.
Dude, I think what you said there earlier actually nails something that I feel will be a misunderstanding people have. When you said earlier the comments about, like, you know, coaches are a bit of a meme, and sometimes you can be paired with a coaching staff member in a big org, but you might be like, how's this guy even getting the door? Like, what's he even talking about? One of the main flaws I've seen, by the way, dude, is like, first of all, there are definitely pro players who do the mindset of like, everything you tell me is supposed to be some amazing shit I've never heard, and it's supposed to be like the newest stuff, which, by the way, any player who has that that, you don't understand coaching. Like, that was never what the coach's job was. He wasn't there to fucking like unlock the secrets of the universe. Like, he's there to help
you. Unless you're on C9, unless you have LS as your coach.
Obviously, he is for real there to unlock the secrets of the universe, but that's the whole reason why he's LS. No, but in this particular case, so it's like Alphari says, you are there to essentially facilitate conversations by which the players and you collectively figure out the solution. So to me, that's the real reason why some of the coaches I know that do have some game knowledge have failed badly, is that they also go into settings like this. And it's not that the player's a total dick and he's like, oh, but you're not better than me at the games. You can't. No, the player will listen. He'll sort of be like, so what's your point? And dude, you don't know how many of these people, it's like they know what they mean, but they can't explain it. Like they think they have a point. This thing is better or this thing is good. But they just fall apart when they're asked to actually explain, like, how does it work though? What is the mechanism? Why are we doing this? Some of them can't do that. And so essentially, the bad ones just revert to the idea of authority. Like, we have to do what I say, respect me. It's like, well, you have to earn people's respect, mate. There's a level of respect you get as a human and as like my boss. But beyond that, like, you have to win someone over and make them think you have good ideas. And so many people can't sell that part of it, mate. So I totally get where you come in on that one. The difference is, I actually want to spin this into a discussion though, because the weird thing, that's why I want to ask why you want to play with Perkz, is because I used to think, like, this is how I used to do the division. When Caps was at his peak, he's actually the player that people used to think was the most genius at sort of like his vision for the game, you know, like knowing that he can go in on a situation and do some next level outplay and still win it and actually not die and, you know, like survive without burning flash in lane or kill all these amazing Korean players, right? He reminds me of that famous quote people have where they say that, you know, like a great player can hit a target no one else can hit, but like a genius can hit a target no one else can see. Like, you didn't even know it existed. I actually think in some ways though, I'm more now towards the side of Perkz being like that though, because the thing with difference is, it makes sense to me that Caps could go for these insane players. His mechanics were like unbelievable, like inexplicably good at the time. Perkz actually, even when he's at his worst, even when he's in games, when I see the players he goes for, I'm like, even though he didn't land it, like, I didn't even know that was possible he could win the game at this moment, like, or that there was even a way through this fight. Like, I think he actually has, Perkz has some sort of crazy vision for the game as far as I can tell. Like, I don't know where he gets his like idea of what to do, but like the amount of times, essentially, he's one of those people where even when he hints, sometimes I'm like, maybe that wasn't an hint though. Maybe he just fucked up slight execution. Maybe that was actually the most genius play. Maybe I'm just a pleb on this one. That's what I genuinely think when I watch him play, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I do
maybe
think
he's seeing things. Maybe he's seeing things at times, because I'm not with him all the time, but there definitely are like a lot of plays where I'm just like, okay, this is actually a winning play.
I think he does it a little bit, but I think that's like part of his charm, that he doesn't. He's like not afraid to make plays, and he doesn't tilt as well, and he like keeps like thinking about how to win the game. So
yes.
A lot of players, especially in like important games, by the way, a lot of players is really easy where you make like an int play in a competitive game. Like, let's say, I don't know, in like, let's say like the action game, for example. It's easy to do like a game like this and then be like, I don't want to play action again, or you know, just lose confidence in an aspect, or maybe like shut down for the rest of the game. I don't think he is like this, and this is like, you know, such a huge factor. You don't have to be, I don't know, like Uzi on Adderall, just never like making a mistake, never missing a CS, being able to play every single champion in the game. What's more important is actually learning from like throughout the split and having like good understanding of the meta and like what you want to play, like having good prep, and then I don't know, like the experience factor he brings as well, not choking when it matters, because so many players actually do perform worse when
sure,
even if they're like really insane players. Like I'm not gonna like this, they do perform worse, and I think it's kind of the opposite from like playing against him. Whenever I play against him in playoffs, or have done, he's always been better than he has been in regular split. And like I said, that's all that matters, right? It doesn't matter if you're like inting. I mean, it does matter a little bit if you're inting, but like it doesn't, you know. I'd rather a player who ints me every game in regular split, and then we get to playoffs and he's smurfing and he's picking the right champions, he's not tilting, he has the experience, and he knows as well what the enemy players are thinking. He has like a sense, he has a sense for the map as well. Like you said, he has a sense for the game. So yeah, that's how I see him.
Have you sensed any of like, because I mean the way you talked about it before wasn't that he did anything like just from like the eye test that made you be like, oh, I need to play with this guy? It was more just like, you know, you said that he just won a lot and he was constantly beating you, and that's the reason why you wanted to play with him. Have you kind of like picked up on anything? Have you like started to sense like, oh, like I'm starting to see why this guy's a champion so far? Just, or is it
Yeah. So I mean, I remember him. He was very in 2019. I remember him being on 2020 as well. He was like more creative, and he like pushed how to play with fog more than other players, especially when he was playing sideline. Like he would cheat waves a lot, which was, I mean, it was like a thing before, but it wasn't like a huge thing that I was like aware of. And then he started doing this at time when he was playing AD carry. He would always like cheat a wave that he wasn't supposed to take because he was playing with like information. Things like this, I think that he's like really insane. Zoe, TF, Rise, and there's one other champion, but I forgot what it was. Maybe, yeah. But he has had some like really insane games versus me.
Oh, right.
Where, yeah, just versus me, where I'm like, damn, okay, like, you know, this guy's really good. And I don't think that. Okay, so there's a difference. When I was playing in NA, like he was the best TF by far. He was like, and it was like obvious as well. And maybe it's like a team thing, but TF is like a really macro champion, and you have to make the plays yourself. Like you can't just like wait for like the team to call. You have to be the one being like, okay, and you have to like do it really fast. You have to tell your team kind of what to do. So there's like obviously it's like really good and clutch, like the Zoe bubbles you're talking about versus me. Like he's really good on the champion that other players have difficulty making work. So there are like, I get you said eye test things. There are eye test things too, but you know, he's good. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Funny thing is, though, even though like people will take like saying like you just won against me as like a glib statement, there's like something more there that people won't get, which is when someone consistently wins year after year after year. Remember, it isn't the same game they're playing. The meta's changing, their teammates are changing, the opponents change. Like what you should literally do, and this is a real piece of advice if you're a pro player, if you ever get in a team with someone like that, literally try and absorb everything from their brain. So ask them every question you can, and literally even in reviews, just ask them why did you go for that though? Like literally, all you're trying to do is steal little secrets, because one thing I think is a mega underrated aspect of all competitive sports is that everyone's doing that all the time. Players don't think so because everyone wants to build this story. Like, you know, if you ever ask an interview a player, you go, who was your hero when you were growing up? They all just lie and go, I don't compare anyone to myself, and you know, I'm like a very unique player, because everyone's got like a big ego, right? The joke is like every top player in every sport who knows the other, they're all trying to steal info from each other and find out like what that guy knows or what edge does he have on me. Like, you don't just sit back and go, I hope next year I am better on fucking Zoe. Like, no, you go there and you try and get all the little edges you can. And plus, you never know, you might not play with them in the future. It might help you to know how they think about the game, what they're doing, etc. I'm sure also it's very interesting to know then what were they doing when they played against me in the past. Like, who was the guy who made that call, or was this guy was it his pick, was the coach the genius? So many angles you can figure out that are interesting. There's one team we haven't talked about out the big ones I thought we'll do, and then we'll see when the episode ends. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or you know, be a pleb and don't.